Hey everyone, welcome back to Key to Learn English, the podcast where we learn real English through real conversations about real life. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Ryan. And today, honestly, we have one of my favorite topics that we have ever discussed on this podcast. I'm excited about this one.
Ryan is already leaning forward in his chair. I can see it. And honestly, I think once you hear today's topic, you will understand exactly why. Because today we are talking about something that will genuinely change the way you think about your goals, your habits, and your future.
Today's episode is called Why Discipline is More Important Than Motivation. And if that title made you go, good. Because we are going to challenge something that a lot of people believe deeply and incorrectly.
And this is a B1 level episode, so the English is clear, natural, and real. The kind of English you need for work, for life, for expressing big ideas. Whether you're on your morning commute, doing housework, or sitting down with a coffee, you are very welcome here.
And as always, near the end of today's episode, we have our famous word tour. 8 powerful English expressions from today's conversation. So please, stay with us all the way to the end. You do not want to miss it.
Before we start, a small but important request. If this podcast is helping your English, please like this episode, subscribe to Key to Learn English, and share it with one person who is working on a big goal right now. Your support means everything to us.
Okay, let's get into it. Sarah, let me ask you something to start. Have you ever felt super motivated to do something? Learning English, going to the gym, starting a new habit. And then, 3 days later, completely nothing?
Ryan, are you describing me or everyone? Because yes, absolutely yes. The motivation was real. The excitement was real. And then life happened, and the feeling just disappeared.
Exactly. And I think that's the most important starting point for today's conversation. Because that's not a personal failure. That's just how motivation works. And once you understand that, everything changes.
Okay, so let's start with the big question. What is motivation, really? Because I think most people picture motivation as this powerful feeling, like a fire inside you, that pushes you forward toward your goals.
Right. Like in the movies. The music starts playing, you get a serious look in your eyes, and suddenly you're running upstairs and doing pull-ups at 5 in the morning. Very inspiring. Completely unrealistic.
The movie version of motivation is honestly a lie. Because in real life, motivation is an emotion. And like all emotions, it comes and it goes. You cannot control when it arrives. You cannot force it to stay.
Think about it this way. You feel motivated to learn English today. Great. You study for 2 hours. But tomorrow, you wake up tired. You have a difficult day at work. You feel stressed. The motivation is gone. And if your only plan was to study when you felt motivated, you don't study. The day is lost.
And this is what happens to so many people with their goals. They start strong, full of energy and excitement. The first week is amazing, but then the feeling fades because feelings always fade. And without the feeling, there is no action.
And here is the real problem with depending on motivation. Motivation usually appears after an exciting moment, a great YouTube video, an inspiring speech, a conversation that fires you up. But those moments don't happen every day. Life is mostly ordinary, and you need to make progress on ordinary days too.
I love how you said that. Ordinary days. Because that is exactly where the real work happens. Not on the days when you feel amazing. On the Tuesday mornings when you're tired, your coffee is cold, and nothing feels exciting. Those are the days that define whether you actually reach your goal.
And this is exactly why motivation, on its own, is not enough. It's a wonderful feeling when it shows up, but it cannot be the engine of your progress, because an engine that only runs sometimes is not reliable, and your goals deserve better than that.
So, what is the alternative? What is the engine that actually works every single day, with or without the feeling? Ryan, I think you know where we're going.
Discipline. Pure, beautiful, unglamorous discipline. And yes, I know that word doesn't sound as exciting as motivation. Nobody makes a 3-minute video of dramatic music about being disciplined. But it works, and that's what matters.
Okay, so let's define discipline. Because I think a lot of people hear this word and they imagine something very harsh and cold, like a military sergeant shouting at you, no fun, no rest, just suffering.
Yes, the word discipline has a bit of an image problem. People think it means punishing yourself, forcing yourself, living like a robot. No joy allowed, only hard work forever until you die.
A little dramatic, but honestly, that is the image. But real discipline is not like that at all. Real discipline is simply this: doing what you decided to do, even when you don't feel like doing it. That's it. It's keeping the promise you made to yourself.
I like that definition a lot. Keeping the promise you made to yourself. Because that's exactly what it is. When you say, I'm going to study English for 20 minutes every day, disciplined you shows up for that 20 minutes, even on hard days. Not because you feel inspired, but because you made a commitment and you respect yourself enough to keep it.
And here is the key difference between motivation and discipline. Motivation is about feeling. Discipline is about identity. When you are motivated, you ask, do I feel like doing this right now? When you are disciplined, you ask, who am I? And the answer is, I am someone who does this, so I do it.
That shift in thinking is genuinely powerful. Because feelings are unstable. They change based on sleep, food, stress, the weather, what someone said to you at lunch. But identity is stable. Who you are doesn't change just because you had a bad morning.
And I want to say something important here. Discipline does not mean perfect. Disciplined people miss days sometimes. They get sick. They have hard weeks. Life interrupts everyone. The difference is, a disciplined person comes back. They don't let one missed day become 10 missed days. They restart without drama.
Yes, because unmotivated people say, I missed yesterday, so I've already failed, so I may as well give up. And disciplined people say, I missed yesterday. Okay, back to it today. No story, no guilt trip, just back to it.
And that ability to come back, consistently, quietly, without needing a big dramatic comeback moment, that is exactly what builds real, lasting progress. Not the big moments, the small, steady returns.
Discipline is also not about motivation's absence being the enemy. Motivation is great when it shows up. Enjoy it, use it, ride that wave. The problem is only when you wait for motivation before you act, because the wait can be very, very long. Okay, here is something that I think genuinely surprises people, and it's one of the most interesting things about discipline and motivation.
Oh, I love this part. Tell them, Ryan.
Here it is. Most people think you need to feel motivated in order to take action. But actually, it often works the other way. You take action first, and then the motivation appears.
Yes, this is so true and so backwards from what we're taught. Think about when you go to the gym. You don't always want to go. You're tired, it's cold, the sofa is comfortable. Your body is saying, please no. But you go anyway. And after 10 minutes of moving your body, how do you feel?
Better. Usually much better. The energy comes after you start, not before. And this is actually supported by psychology. It's called behavioral activation, the idea that action creates motivation, not the other way around.
And it works with English too. How many times have you sat down to study and thought, I really don't feel like this today? But you opened the book anyway, or pressed play on the podcast anyway, and after 5 minutes you were actually enjoying it.
Every single time, honestly. The beginning is the hardest part, getting started. There's actually a principle sometimes called the 2-minute rule. If you just commit to doing something for 2 minutes, you almost always continue. Because the resistance is in the starting, not in the doing.
And this is why discipline is so valuable. Discipline gets you to the starting line. It gets you to that first 2 minutes, and then motivation often joins you once you're already moving.
So they're not enemies, motivation and discipline. They're actually a team. Discipline shows up every day, reliable and consistent. Motivation visits sometimes and makes things feel easier and more exciting. But discipline is the one you can count on.
And here's another beautiful thing about discipline. The longer you practice it, the easier it gets. Because actions that you repeat consistently become habits. And habits stop requiring willpower. They just become part of who you are and how you live.
Yes, a person who has studied English every day for 6 months doesn't fight the urge to study. They just study. It's not a battle anymore. The discipline has become automatic. It has become identity.
And that is the goal. Not to fight yourself every day forever, but to practice so consistently that the behavior becomes natural. Like brushing your teeth. You don't need motivation to brush your teeth. You just do it. Hopefully. Okay, we love an episode with real practical takeaways. So Ryan, let's talk about how you actually build discipline. Not in theory, in real, messy, ordinary life.
Perfect. And the first thing I want to say, and I mean this sincerely, start embarrassingly small. I know people always say start small, but I mean really small. Smaller than you think is necessary.
Ryan once told me his goal was to do 1 push-up a day. 1. And I looked at him like, seriously? But explain why, because it actually makes complete sense.
Because the goal in the beginning is not the result. The goal is to build the identity of someone who shows up. 1 push-up is enough to prove to yourself that you showed up today. And showing up every day, even briefly, builds the discipline muscle far faster than doing a huge effort once and then burning out.
And this applies directly to learning English. Don't start with 1 hour a day. Start with 5 minutes. 5 minutes of listening, or 5 minutes of vocabulary, or 5 minutes of reading. Every day, without exception. That 5 minutes trains your brain to expect the habit. And from there, it naturally grows.
Second thing, remove the decision. One of the biggest enemies of discipline is having to decide every day whether to do the thing or not, because decisions require energy. And when you're tired or stressed, the decision goes the wrong way.
So instead, make it automatic. Same time every day. Same place. Same routine. You study English at 7 in the morning with your coffee. Every day. Not when you feel like it. Not when it's convenient. 7 in the morning, coffee, English. Done. No decision required.
Third, track your consistency visually. There's something genuinely powerful about putting a tick on a calendar every day you complete your habit. You can see your streak growing. And once you have 7 days in a row, you do not want to break the chain. The visual record creates its own motivation to stay consistent.
It's a small thing, but it works so well. And fourth, be kind to yourself when you miss a day. Because you will miss a day. That's normal. The rule is simply never miss twice. Miss once, life happened. Miss twice, a pattern is starting. Come back after one miss. Always.
And the fifth and final thing I'd say is this. Know your why. A deep, personal, emotional reason for your goal will carry you much further than a vague plan. Not just, I want to speak English, but I want to speak English because I want to give a speech at my friend's wedding in English. Or because I want to have a real conversation with my international colleagues without fear.
When the reason is personal and emotional, discipline becomes something different. It stops being about forcing yourself. It becomes about protecting something that matters to you. And that is a completely different relationship with hard work.
So, start small, remove the decision, track your progress, forgive yourself quickly, and know your deep why. These 5 things, practiced together, will build more real progress than any amount of motivation ever could.
And apply this to your English right now, today. What is the smallest possible English habit you can commit to? What time will it happen? Write it down. And start tomorrow morning. Not next Monday, tomorrow. Word tour time! 8 expressions from today's episode that will make your English stronger, smarter, and more natural.
Expression number 1. Self-discipline. Self-discipline means the ability to control your own behavior and keep working toward a goal, even without outside pressure or motivation. For example, she improved her English through self-discipline, studying every single day, even when she didn't feel like it.
Number 2, stay on track. To stay on track means to continue doing what you planned, without being distracted or giving up. For example, he had a difficult week at work, but he stayed on track with his English practice by studying just 10 minutes each evening.
Number 3. Willpower. Willpower is the mental strength you use to resist temptation or push through difficulty in order to do something hard. For example, she used her willpower to turn off social media and focus on studying for 30 minutes every morning.
Number 4, build a habit. To build a habit means to repeat an action so many times that it becomes automatic and natural, something you do without thinking. For example, the best way to improve at anything is to build a habit around it. Small actions every day without fail.
Number 5. Consistency. Consistency means doing something regularly and reliably over a long period of time, without big gaps or giving up. For example, his English improved so much because of consistency. Not talent, not luck, just showing up every day.
Number 6, push through. To push through means to continue doing something difficult, even when you want to stop, because you are committed to finishing. For example, she felt like stopping halfway through the lesson, but she pushed through and finished, and felt so much better afterward.
Number 7. Hold yourself accountable. To hold yourself accountable means to take personal responsibility for your actions and your results, to not make excuses, and to be honest with yourself about whether you are doing what you said you would do. For example, he started writing in a journal every night to hold himself accountable for his daily English practice.
And number 8, long-term thinking. Long-term thinking means focusing on results in the future, not just how you feel right now. It means making decisions today based on who you want to become tomorrow. For example, discipline is built on long-term thinking, choosing the difficult thing today because of what it will mean for you in 6 months.
Let's say them all together. Self-discipline, stay on track, willpower, build a habit, consistency, push through. Hold yourself accountable. Long-term thinking. Beautiful.
Okay, our amazing listeners, comment challenge time. And this one is personal, and we really, really want to read your answers.
Here it is. In the comments, finish this sentence. My one daily discipline habit for my English is, and tell us exactly what it is, even if it's small, especially if it's small.
Maybe it's, my one daily discipline habit is listening to one English podcast episode during my morning commute. Or, my one daily discipline habit is writing 5 new English words in my notebook before bed.
Or maybe, my one daily discipline habit is watching one English YouTube video with subtitles while eating lunch. All of these count. All of them are real progress.
And when you write your answer in the comments, you are not just practicing English. You are making a public commitment. And public commitments are incredibly powerful for helping you actually follow through. So go write it right now. We'll be reading every single one.
Before we finish today, one last thought I want to leave you with. Motivation is a feeling. Feelings come and go. Discipline is a decision. And decisions, made again and again on ordinary days, in quiet moments, are what build extraordinary lives.
You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to feel inspired. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment or the perfect mood. You just need to decide right now that you will show up every day for yourself, for your English, for your future.
Start small. Stay consistent. Come back after every miss and trust the process. Because the results of discipline are invisible at first, but they are building, quietly, powerfully, every single day.
And if today's episode gave you something, a new idea, a new perspective, a little push forward, please share it. Subscribe to Key to Learn English, leave a comment, and come back for the next episode. We make every single one for you.
This has been Ryan.
And this has been Sarah. Stay disciplined, stay consistent, and we will see you in the next episode of Key to Learn English.
Bye for now. And remember, you don't have to feel ready. You just have to begin.